You also have a song on this record. It's called "Stole Your Flow,"
Yeah.
where you're like not taking so kindly to people biting you. Obviously, the internet's gonna decide who you're talking about on that
For
song.
sure. I think we all know.
They're gonna say it's
Yeah.
Drake. I mean, that's a man who was with you in those early days too.
Sure.
Brought you on tour. Where did things go wrong in that relationship?
I don't know. I started just seeing people who just started out as friends and just became foes. Seemed like they was unhappy for you, and just started sending shots. And I think that's what led to any of our misunderstandings or whatever the case is. So it really ain't smoke.
Does it feel resolvable to you, or you think it's too far?
It don't even need to be. Mm-hmm. Like, for what?
But you're like no secret. Like that song's for him.
Nah, I don't really.
Or it's for anyone
it's
who
for
might
whoever.
be.
ASAPRocky's new project, Don't Be Dumb, is out. And you know, with an album release, it's going to come a press run. And sometimes I like when these guys go on press runs when they talk. Y'all know I like saying, hey, I love when these ninjas speak. And the Popcast, sponsored by New York Times, asked ASAPRocky a very candid question about Drake. I think it's interesting. It might be a little too late for me, but I still appreciate the information now. And if you don't stick to the end and get my full perspective on this and you start typing away with your little hate or your standout, that's a you problem, not mine. But I like this. I like the question they asked him. I used the full clip because I think he provided pretty good context for me, and I really want to talk about three things, all right? Number one, okay, is the nature of the problem with him and Drake. I like being candid about it, okay? I like him explaining exactly where he feels like things went wrong, and I appreciate more now that I can see his side, right? And his side kind of checks out a lot more than a Rick Ross, who, for example, says, his problem with Drake was that Drake sends a cease and desist to French Montana. I just saw a clip of French Montana sitting with Max B saying, me and Drake don't got no problems. Everything's cool. So there's confusion there. So I like him being explicit about it. And when he talks about certain subs and things like that, I appreciate that. And I also know because I can reference the records. Now, what comes before the subs, I just have to attribute it to women issues, right? Maybe because Drake, Rihanna was supposed to be his love of his life at whatever point, or he had an interest in her, but she goes with ASAP. That's human emotions, right? That doesn't mean you should be immature about it. And maybe he felt like because, he had a relationship with ASAP before. I can't speak too much to that, but he was candid enough to let me know, hey, dog was saying things, no pun intended, on, like, for example, For All the Dogs, and I didn't appreciate it. So that's the first perspective, is understanding what happened. And that a lot of y'all probably have already put two and two together there, right? Because of some of the For All the Dogs subs and then ASAP's shots during kind of the beginning of the Great Shinobi Wars on a future project or whatever. And then now on the, Don't Be Dumb project, which I've started. I'm getting in the gym now, so that's usually where I take in most of my music. What I'm getting from this album is he's gonna have something for everybody, because I gave a review on a Punky Rocky joint. Y'all dinged me for that. I was like, nah, I just don't, this ain't it. But there are records on there, like even the record he's talking about now, that's closer to the type of ASAP I want to hear. And maybe that's just my love for rap. Okay, so that was the first thing. The second thing is the timing, okay, of when some of these people who had what some of y'all see as valid issues with Drake, and now that I'm hearing it, I guess I kind of understand it, and they feel are valid issues with Drake, is the timing. So I can understand the Drake stand, and even me, to a certain extent, was like, from a war perspective, from a general perspective, I get your timing. Because the game is the game. You want to win, right? When y'all gang up. That's why the 20v1 stuff get thrown around. But from a stand perspective, fan perspective, or general public perspective, when it's all launched, it's like, okay, if you have a problem with Drake and he subs you, shoot at him on your own. Stand on your own 10. But I get it, right? War, and it's like how you take down a big dog. So I get that. I can apply the HQK nuance you guys love. I can get that. But I just want people like ASAP to know, right? And especially when Drake wants to be in his bag, to let y'all know he's going to point it out, right? So the timing was interesting. Even if you point out like a Kendrick, they've been subbing back and forth too, right? But obviously people saw Kendrick as like a legitimate opponent, and Kendrick really hammered on like that, right? So it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna soon become about you, J. Cole, and Drake. But all these other guys that came in with their little 2 cents or whatever, it was like, no. If you guys had a real issue, I would have loved for you to bomb on your own. But I get it, war strategies. Now my third point, and my third point is what you guys are gonna say, which is, oh, if you want to sell your album, if you want to, you just got to bring up Drake. I just want to reference a few things on that. Number one, I will give Drake his credit. He's one of the few rappers, obviously take away like the Kanye's, Jay-Z, the few rappers, him, Kendrick, Cole, that I think they can just say things on records. They can just post a link. They can just take a sub and the conversation starts. I'm on it. But a lot of these guys that are just about a tier below will have to do interviews. And when you do these interviews, the Pusha T's, the Travis Scotts, the A$AP Rocky, Trav kind of could be on that other line, but because he's immensely popular, same with Playboy Cardi. But you get my point. There's just a tier below of commanding the attention of the audience. You're going to have to do these interviews, and people are going to ask you. But what I don't want you guys to do, to kind of give Drake an out, is don't act like what these guys are practicing, which they have to do in an interview, Drake doesn't know how to apply this courting for attention on records too, right? Drake knows how to bring up other people. Like, for example, just the Megan Thee Stallion shots line on Her Loss. Shorty says lying about shots, but she's still a stallion, and start a conversation. So let's all not get too much on our high horses. Now, when it gets a little too far, like I think Pusha is probably a good example. Well, I kind of felt like on that rollout, and I think he kind of caught wind of it. He backed up a little bit. Like, he was doing, like, a lot of, I don't like this person. I was like, all right, come on. Because then they start calling you Pusha TMZ. I was like, all right, So those are the 3 things that I kind of took out of this. It's like, okay, one, let's run it back again, right? Appreciate you giving me the information. And your information kind of does check out because, Drake's on for all the dogs, talking about some I'm anti. Even if he wasn't taking shots at you, worth the Flocko, Shiki, really Rocky. Like, if you didn't, it was like, you still talking about my women. So me as a man, I'm going. Secondly is, okay, but your timing, all right? Your timing you could have stood it on, but y'all, we get into that coordinated attack type of stuff. I don't think it's the length motherfuckers trying to take it to industry. No, I just think here's a guy that does some things. Here's some people he's done some things against. They didn't like it. They saw an opportunity, war shit. You know what I'm saying? Time to win. And lastly, right, this is press run stuff. People are going to ask questions. Everybody get over themselves. All right. My next A$AP Rocky video should be mostly probably about A$AP Rocky's music. So we'll get to that in the gym. All right? All right, cool. Good talk.